Greater Good Radio. Connect, learn, heal, and grow.
I always like looking at the world differently. And so that's sort of the gift that I was given, is just this insane curiosity. Sometimes I'll ask something very stupid, or it might seem really crazy because I'm not parsing the world the same way. I'm looking at these things in very different lights. And as a result, once in a while, something interesting comes out from that.
So what is it that catches your interest typically?
Science usually is one thing. Like, my mom taught me how to make rice. And she taught me that you put your finger, I don't know if you did that too, but you put your finger in and you fill the water until it hits the first knuckle. And so that's not enough for me. It's like, why? Why does it work like that? So, then I'll look into it and learn from it, and then figure out like why that rice cooker can operate when my knuckle is clearly not at the same depth as hers, and then be able to like describe that.
So what was the answer?
The answer is in physics. So water does not go above a boiling point, usually 212 degrees at sea level. And so when you fill water in this pot, what's happening is that no matter how much heat you add to it, you can add 1,000,000 degrees, it's going to stay at 212 degrees. That water is going to be like a cooling effect to keep it at that. And so when you press the on, what you're doing is you're causing a magnet to stick and complete that circuit. So now you've got a heating element that's boiling the water. The water's keeping that at 212 degrees until there's no water. So now when the water's gone, what happens? Now the temperature goes up. So when temperatures go up, magnets lose their magnetism. So there's a certain temperature where the magnet is no longer a magnet, and it pops off. So therefore, it's not heating anymore. Technically, it drops down and it still completes a circuit, but it runs it through a resistor. So now the same heating element is in the warm mode. And so knowing that, I've now used rice cookers for all kinds of things. Like, you fill it to the top with water and you put taro inside and you just turn it on. And it takes about 3-4 hours for that water to boil off, and it turns off. And now you have perfectly cooked taro. It's a pretty interesting, simple circuit.
So what does the finger knuckle have to do with that though?
The finger knuckle was just an approximate amount of water that would be needed, because with rice, as long as you get close, it'll always cook perfectly. If your knuckle is off by 1/4 inch, it really doesn't matter. You're adding a little bit more water. And with rice, sometimes it being soaking in water is okay because it's so hard that only a certain amount of water gets in there. So there's a huge forgiving ban of rice. So unless you're like making sushi rice where you have to like measure it, you can just dump water in it and it'll work.
So even if you had like 2 cups of rice, like uncooked rice, or 10 cups of uncooked rice, then you only needed the water to be that 1 inch or so above the surface, and it'll still cook fine. So what if you put like up to your 3rd knuckle?
Then it will cook longer, which means it might get soggy, because if you soak the rice, it's fine. But if you're not adding heat to it, it's permeable. So it's going to get into it. So your rice is going to be a little bit soggy because that's too far away from that norm of above the thing. And so whoever figured that out, like from the 20s or 30s, like to use your finger, it's definitely the way that it still works today.
If you resonate with Greater Good Radio, please join our community at www.greatergoodradio.com, where you can get access to exclusive content and offerings. Hope to see you soon.